Question number 2, dealing with indicators for a student who's mainstreamed into a regular classroom. It's very important that the classroom teacher has had a long conversation with the special ed teachers and the parents to find out their normal routines, how they responded to certain things or not responded, and to get a plan to set up ideas as to what should be emphasized and maybe what's de-emphasized according to how the student's doing right now. There are indicators that must be tracked very carefully, especially in the actions and the non-actions of the student as they develop. If the teacher then is aware that the student at one time was very talkative, then all of a sudden they do not talk. Or if the student is very quiet and all of a sudden begins to talk a lot. This can be good and it could be bad depending on the type of talking or non-talking. The indicators are very, very important. The inappropriate behavior. Let's say that the student's always been well behaved and then all of a sudden in the classroom they can't seem to control themselves and their behavior becomes very negative. This is a sign that they're either not happy and they're just trying to avoid being in the classroom and wanting to be in the classroom. Arguing with the teacher. This may or may not be a sign. They may have done that in special ed, but if it just begins in the classroom, that's another indicator that something needs to be changed or recognized. Not completing assignments. Well, a lot of normal students don't complete assignments either, but the teacher would need to know if the material may need to be adjusted, not give the student as much work and give them less work, and to see if the student has in the past been able to accomplish these tasks that are being administered in the regular classroom. The student may become very non-communicative with other students, not talking to them, maybe putting their head down when people talk to them, being very shy, and you find out that the student was never this way in a special ed classroom. You might then try to find out, is there something that is bothering them? Is there something being said? Are they trying to avoid something that you're not aware of? Anger. This can be something that can be a production of what is happening in the classroom. They may become very frustrated. And frustration will bring on anger, especially with a student with disabilities. If you find out then that this was not normal, again, do you need to adjust anything for that student in the way of their work, in their responsibilities and what they can do. The skills of the student, you have to continually measure them. You cannot ignore that. You must measure them. If they are going down and doing less work and accomplishing not what you expect of them, you must immediately work on this to try to determine what is wrong and what needs to be taking place. These are all important. None of them are minimal, and you must always be aware of progress.
You done? You want to do a replay or just publish?
I'm going to see what this one says.
I thought it got chiggers out there.
It's
like chiggers, those things that got on me out in the backyard.
What do I press?
It's like chiggers.
How do I go back?
Push this here. Oh, wait a minute. You're still going. We're still on there. Mary can edit it out. No.
Question number 1. As a former teacher and administrator, I feel that inclusion is absolutely necessary. If done properly, it will greatly benefit the student academically and socially. To begin the process, the student should be slowly started in the program and not spend the whole day in the classroom at one time. So it should be measured each day to see what type of progress is made, and if you can add more time to the student's classroom time. The amount of time in the classroom, as it is increased, it should be evaluated by the teacher, and also the information should be discussed with the parents. They should talk about the effects at home and in school and what they are seeing happening. The classroom teacher must carefully observe the social and the academic progress. The teacher, when the program begins, should not talk to the class about this student in any way. She should talk to them in the way that we are getting another new student, but they will not be here all day, and that they are just one of the class, and it will be a shorter day for them. The disabilities of the student will be quickly aware of by the other students, and the teacher should watch to see if there's any type of negative comments that are made towards that student. The disability of the student, as diagnosed and set up in the IEP, the teacher must be aware of the strategies that should be used and the expectations that should be clearly developed for her. The non-academic part of the program, such as art, music, and PE, should definitely be a part of that student's program. Do not leave them out of that part of the day. That will help them adapt to the other students, and it will give them a chance to see what it's like to be with students and how they handle things other than classroom work. This is where the social development takes place, so do not skip the extracurricular activities. The last thing I would say about the inclusion program is that sometimes it is very successful, sometimes it's not. This has to be a constant evaluation done by the teacher and the parent. Look for signals of improvement or non-improvement and make some decisions before you stick with a program that may not be working, or increase the time in the program if it should be working.